Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3. Testing, testing, testing. On the court is starting here. Sorry for the delay. Ran into some traffic, but we are here to have our show as the regularly scheduled programming. Thank you for joining us. On the sports hit list by the fans and for the fans, another day in the association. Just reading that Kyrie Irving suspension is nearing to completion. The process is needed for a return to play on the court. He's almost done with the whole process. So hopefully Kyrie can return back to the court. Return to play on the court. Let me just share this show right now. Sending messages to people. And thank you so much for anyone who's watching us now live on Facebook. I am going to hit share, and we have 2 people waiting in the area. Let's see who we got here. I believe we have our guy, Mike Miller. Let's copy the link. Mike is here, and so is Jacob. They both will be joining us right now. And we are all set for On the Court. How you doing, sir?
Good. How you doing?
My guy, we have a new guy. It's one of my students. His name is Jacob. He said he likes the NBA, so I figured he'd come into the blood sport. And
chance.
Mike, you can give him a grade at the end of this and see how well he does. Because according to him,
okay. What's up, new guy?
Yeah.
What's up? How you doing?
Good, man.
Mike, how's your week, sir?
Amazing. How was my week? It's Wednesday, Carl. The week isn't over.
Well, I haven't seen you in a week, so let's put it like that. I haven't seen
you okay. I get it. So far,
so the association is kicking off. I think that the Kyrie Irving stuff is dying down. He's coming back to play. There's really nothing to really discuss. But
they said he's coming back to play when?
According to the last report I just saw, it said that he's near to return. They're hoping he returns by when they play Memphis. I think they got a game coming up against Memphis, so they're hoping he plays by then. That's what I was reading. So I'm not sure how that ties into anything. But Mike, what have you been seeing? What stood out to me this week in the NBA was Embiid. Embiid's what do you have, a 59 piece, right?
Yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts? That's what stood out to me, I think. I'm not sure about you, but that was the first thing that came to mind when I was looking at, what's going on in the league. And there's no chatty pat. Like there are some chatty patty stuff, but we can worry about that later. But Embiid stood out to me. And of course, my team, my guy, I think is a top MVP candidate right now, maybe top 2, top 2, top 3. He's definitely in the race. But what are your thoughts so far? What's going on in the league for you?
He got my vote right now. For
Tatum, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I told you after, what was it, a couple weeks ago? I told you after I watched that Memphis game and saw how he took over. And I thought about it early in the season, like from watching the first 2 games, he would have my vote. Right? Like if everything, it's still early, but he's the leader in the clubhouse if he had my vote. My biggest takeaway was last night and how the Nets got blown out like that. And then all the reports today since then, the interview with Chris Haynes and
KD, right? Yeah.
What he said, like no disrespect, but let me be disrespectful. Like he was super disrespectful to his whole team. Like, so I think this is about to blow up. I think it's over.
It's not even just that. It's also the Ben Simmons report too about him wanting. There was another Ben Simmons report that literally I was reading today that came out. So as much as the Nets are trying to stay away from the spotlight, the spotlight seems to just gear back to them.
Yo, listen, you give up 153 points and there's no quadruple overtime, you're gonna be in the spotlight. So I think it's tough. I think what's interesting about it now is I in the summertime, I said when he asked for a trade, I thought that was whack because I thought it was like, this is the team you wanted. You wanted to prove that you could lead your team. Don't try to abandon ship now. And a lot of people felt that way. I think right now, everybody going to have sympathy for him. And if he asks for a trade now, everybody will understand it because this team stinks. Like, even I was kind of gassed the past 7 games. Well, the 6 games before last night of like, oh, maybe they're a little bit decent without Kyrie. They went 4-2. Their defense looked good. Last night was the wake-up call because they faced a good team, and I'll get to that in a second. Sacramento's good. But, yeah, I think if he asked now, I think nobody would criticize him. Long as he don't go to the Warriors, because then it's going to look crazy. Because it's going to look crazy if he go there. But if he asks for a trade now, nobody's going to be mad. Nobody's going to hate. They're going to look at that as between Ben Simmons and the team being worried on if he actually is mentally ready to play basketball. Kyrie is going to do something crazy again. History just tells us that. The roster's bad. Shouts out to Jacques Vaughn. It's not his fault, and if I'm the Nets, this time I don't hold the line. This time I try to get the best offer I can, get rid of him, and then unfortunately this makes me upset because I'm scrubbing for V-Dub. It's time to tank. It's time to go get V-Dub. Start all over, rebuild this thing. This is over. Like yesterday should have been the nail in the coffin. This Nets thing is over. Like in terms of Nets, Kyrie and Kate, that's over. KD should ask for that trade. Get up out of there while you can.
Jacob, what are your thoughts here with Kevin Durant asking for a trade and how the Nets have been playing?
I think Kevin Durant asking for a trade, I feel like, right now that comes, like, I feel like he should. Ben Simmons, I think they were growing frustrated with Ben Simmons, the roster he's got going on. That brutal loss, letting them like 153 or whatever to Sacramento last night. Although they were playing good, they got a new coach in. I feel like, if anything, I feel like the Nets should try to get what they can. Like what Michael said, I feel like they should try to get what they can. Dump ship Kyrie. Something's gonna happen again.
Well, when you dissect that, when you say, okay, go get the best offer you can, I mean, teams like, what is the best offer? So like everyone wants to throw that out there. So what's the best offer for Kevin Durant? Is it picks? Is it budding superstars? I mean, Mike, your team is in that rebuilding mode right now, right? So what are you throwing, to get a Kevin Durant on your team? Or do you think you need Kevin Durant? Does somebody need him? What team, like, what's the best fit for KD to win right now? I mean, he's not going to go to another rebuilding process. So you kind of have to look at the landscape of which conference would he fit best in.
Well, it's the same. It's the same offers that were there in the summer, more or less. You look at New Orleans, see if they're willing, because as good as they looked last night against Memphis, everybody has the same questions about New Orleans. Who's the number one guy? What's the pecking order? Is it Brandon Ingram? Is it Zion? CJ, you could tell he's content with being there because he shifted. He's their point guard. Yes. You could tell he's shifted to accepting the role as the point guard. So who's going to be their number one guy? And if it's going to be Zion Williamson, then Brandon Ingram may not want to be that because he was that guy. So you can broach that trade. That makes the Pelicans now a top 3 team in the Western Conference. Another trade that was out there in the summertime was Miami. Do you get rid of wait till January what you could trade, because I guess Bam and Ben Simmons can't be traded now. So you wait till January, you trade them. I would make that trade now. And so it's a bunch of different trades that all of those trades, that would make Miami a top 3 team. If you get Jimmy, KD, and I guess you still keep Kyle Lowry, you still keep Tyler Hero, but you just give up Bam and maybe some picks. That's a good trade too. So it's a bunch of trades that's out there now that the Nets could have had in the summer, but was holding the line because they wanted to see what it would look like with KD. We see already what it looks like. They're going to be a play-in team and get swept in the first round. Get rid of them.
Jacob, do you agree, or do you see any other potential team that could be a target for KD?
I see a team that I think would be a good fit, personally. I know there was talks about it in the summer. I think the Memphis Grizzlies, I think Kevin Durant would fit in just well. I feel like also, I know a lot of Knicks fans really want KD there. They tried to get Donovan Mitchell earlier.
Let's not do that. Let's not go down that route. Are you a Knicks fan?
No, I'm an OKC fan.
Oh, okay. All right.
Really hurt me in my heart when he left. We blew that 3-1 lead against the Golden State Warriors.
He's an OKC fan.
He did.
He, man.
Are you from Oklahoma? I'm assuming you're from
Nah,
New
like
York.
ever since I was just growing up, man, I've always liked OKC. Like Kevin Durant was my favorite player for the
Oh,
longest
that's right.
time.
I
And
can
then
dig it.
he snaked me, man. Went right to Golden State. It's
I can
brutal,
dig it.
man.
I can dig it. I'm a Pacer fan from New York too. So we
So
get you
so
weird with me. That's what's up.
so you're saying the Knicks? I mean, what are the Knicks giving up? R.J. Barrett and franchise. Like, what do you give up for Kevin Durant?
I feel like you like they had RJ in talks for Donovan Mitchell. I feel like they got to throw more picks out there too. I feel like the Grizzlies, although like who would you rather have, Desmond Bain or Kevin Durant?
Yeah, I can tell you. I mean, and then the other option over the summer was Phoenix too. Phoenix was definitely a topic
Right.
of
That was his
discussion.
first choice, allegedly.
That was his first choice. So, but Miami honestly would seem to be the best fit for him to go there. Even though I would hate that. I would rather him go west. So because that's less
that ain't gonna make your
burden.
championship bid no easier.
That's what I'm hoping for. But I mean, we'll see. Looking at the Western Conference, Portland is still standing at number 1 in the Western Conference, and Denver coming in. It's also a matter of what pieces would fit for a Kevin Durant. I mean, I think he has like two or three more years left on his deal. What piece would fit there for him to go there? One has yet to see. But back to the MVP discussion that we had on earlier, Mike. Aside from Jason Tatum, who else is early on in that conversation? And we know we talked about them trying to push Luka in there, and
and once again, what are they, like 7-6, right? Or 8-6?
They're 8-5, yeah.
8-5.
So once again, we keep trying to force Luka to be MVP, and his team is always they're good, but they're not as good as they need to be MVP. And I think that's part of the style of play. But Embiid has made some strides just these past couple of days. But again, I think they're 500. They're like 7-7. So
yes, but in recent memory, we've seen the records don't matter, right? Because Joker won it, and I think last year they were in the top 3 seed.
Well, remember, the record only doesn't matter if we have a narrative of sympathy for you. So Joker had a narrative of sympathy. We said, oh, he don't have. So if James Harden is missing a month, if James Harden misses 3 months and Embiid keeps dropping 59 and they end up a 6th seed, he has the sympathy vote. There's no sympathy vote for Joel.
Here's the thing, though. The voters have changed. The older voters used to go by record. A lot of these new voters are going by analytics. They're not caring so much about the record.
No, Carl. They're still caring. They're still
I'm
caring
telling
about
you
record.
I'm telling you what I read, bro. That's what. Okay, so Jacob, are you an analytics kind of fan or no?
Well, like kind of, but going off what you said about the record, I know Russell Westbrook won MVP when he was averaged that triple-double. I think we were like under 5, like seed wise, maybe.
That's
like
what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like,
but,
I honestly don't think the record is mattering anymore, bro. Like, as much as we want to say it, a lot of these newer voters are looking at the analytics and the deeper analytics as opposed to looking at a team record.
That's a sad reality, because that means we're going to end up having somebody who doesn't make the playoffs get MVP because they got a bunch of the looters in the riot are now going to get MVPs now, because they can't do this analytics. And like I said, I don't think that they're doing that. I think Russell Westbrook did something that hasn't been done in 56 years.
mm-hmm.
What Jokic did, he had the highest PER, I think, ever. So they are looking at these rare things within analytics, but I doubt they're going to start saying like for example, Giannis is probably, to your original question, who's still in the runnings? Giannis is probably in the runnings right now. They lost 2 in a row, I think, but nevertheless, they got out the gates 9-0, and that's without Chris Middleton, and Jrue Holiday's hurt right now. So Giannis is in the runnings. I think you'll see that rebalance. Right now, the MVP race is wide open. Luka has a chance, and he'll have some of the sympathy vote because they see that they're not as dominant as people expected them to be, and because of that, they're always going to make the excuse that, well, he has no other superstars with him. So that'll help boost his MVP argument. And that's not analytics. That's always been part of the ingredients of MVP, is not only your value, but also evaluating the team you're playing with. So that's still going to be part of it. I don't think analytics is going to drive it too crazy where we got a 9th seed winning MVP.
Yeah, I mean, Joker won it with the 6 seed last year, and then the year before he was at the 3 seed, and then Giannis won it with the 1 seed. So I think I guess it's the anomaly of the one person who has something incredible before they look at the totality of the person who wins it.
That's the thing. It has to be an anomaly. It's not going to be like, oh, every year we're just going to find the analytics darling, and then that's going to be the MVP. No, there's other things that have to be considered, and they're going to consider team record, because as much as he had those analytics, we remember that argument we had with Ant all those years ago about Anthony Davis winning MVP with a high PER and they wasn't in the playoffs. Like, no, that's not going to matter if your team isn't decent. Like, I think if you could see the record right now, I think the Denver Nuggets had like over 46 wins. They almost have 50 wins. So like that's enough to get MVP. You can get consideration for that.
So you would say right now, would you say Tatum, Luka, and Joker are in it?
Not Luka. I would go Tatum, Giannis, and they keep crying for Luka. So I'll go Tatum, Giannis, and then make whoever you want. But those, to me, those are the two clear-cut ones that have separated themselves, particularly Jason. Well, not separated. That's separated with 15 games. But I think it's those two. But be mindful of that guy in the Bay, Wardell, Stephen Curry. They're starting to get a little bit better.
Yeah, they're still in 12th seed. They're still 6 and 8 though. So.
It's separate game and a half. It's a game and a half call. Stop it. So
Jacob, who are your top 3 MVP candidates right now?
Top 3 MVP. It's honestly like either Giannis, Tatum, interchangeable for me, 1 and 2. And I feel like right now, despite the record, I feel like I gotta put Luka in there.
They caught him, Mike. Mike, they caught him. They caught him, Mike.
He's young. He's young.
They caught him. Jacob,
I feel like I have to. What'd you say?
How old are you?
19.
They caught him.
That sounds about right. No, this is his era.
I mean, honestly, me, I was never a Luka Doncic fan, and here's something that you guys are probably gonna think is crazy, but the first step to recovery is admitting where you're wrong. When Luka came into the league, like draft night, I was literally telling people, I was like, I think Luka's gonna be a bust.
Wow.
And now looking at it now, obviously, dead wrong, probably the worst take I've ever said, but like I was never a Luka guy. I'm still like just looking at his stats, I mean,
so what is it about him that you just don't like? Like, what is it about him that wasn't your flavor?
I mean, honestly, there really isn't much to it. It's just, when you get that gut feeling, man, I was just kind of going with my gut. Everything pointed to him, being a good player. He was playing professionally, like 16 years old overseas. Like, now looking at it, it's kind of just stupid that I said that.
But you know what? I know what it is. And it's go back to it. When I like to compare it to WWE. When they try to spoon feed you someone, you're just basically rejecting it. You're like, no, I don't want it. You want to be able to love a player because you love that player.
Not because
the NBA is telling you. It's the same thing with like when LeBron came into the league, and maybe that's what it was. Like they were spoon feeding us LeBron before he actually got here. And it's like, don't tell me who I should like and who I shouldn't like. Let me watch the player. So I think like Luka's that next grooming to be the face of the league, and they're basically spoon feeding us Luka, and a lot of fans are taking it, and a lot of fans are basically rejecting it. That's how I see it. Mike, would you agree?
I mean, this is the 3rd year in a row he's the preseason favorite to win MVP. Like, so every year, that's telling you that they are clearly trying to make him. They're putting it in our minds that he has to be in the MVP discussion. Now, his numbers are incredible, no doubt about it. But we know how this works. Your numbers you just can't have numbers. You have to make an impact on winning. So if the Dallas Mavericks, last year they were the 4th seed. If they're the 5th or lower, how can he win MVP? I don't care if he doesn't. He got virtually the exact same roster. So that means the team would have gotten worse with him there. And somebody will just argue, no, other teams got better. Be that as it may, his team didn't. So how you can't make the argument for MVP. So he's got to, for Luka right now, unless they get another all-star, and he's going to have to be a top 3 seed. Just getting numbers. He's been getting numbers since he's been in the league. And if that ain't win the MVP, it ain't going to win it now. So he got to do more than just get numbers.
Someone said Donovan Mitchell could be in the MVP combo as well.
Let me shout.
Yeah.
Let me shout him out. Yeah, that's right. That's gonna be my number 3, Carl. I'll put him in there. Luka, have a seat. But they've been slipping a little bit, but yeah, Spider Mitchell could definitely be in there because he made an immediate impact to the Cleveland Cavaliers. So
Jacob, do you co-sign with that?
With Donovan Mitchell?
Yeah.
I did top 5. I'd definitely go top 5 in the race. Maybe even 4. Maybe with what you guys are saying about Luka now, like I'm starting to understand it. I definitely think Donovan Mitchell's in there.
Yeah, I mean, Cleveland's the top 4 seed right now. They're 8-5. The top 3 teams in the East, Boston's number 1, Milwaukee's 2, Atlanta is 3. Brogdon went down. Yeah, I know. Brogdon went down for us, man. I don't know, man.
That's my sleeper team, Carl. They were last year and they let me down.
Cleveland?
Stupid. Atlanta. That's my sleeper team to make it to the finals. I like that backcourt.
This year?
Yes, I like the backcourt. It's my sympathy. I'm still gonna go. You know what? I think I said Milwaukee, but the other day I want to switch to your Celtics, but I want to wait because we already know you're going to be a fiend, and make sure you tell everybody.
I haven't said anything this year.
I
haven't said it this year yet. I haven't said it this year.
You haven't said it this year?
No, I haven't.
Good for you. That looks like growth, man.
Jacob, every year I say that the Celtics are going to win the championship. This year I have not said it yet. I'm
good for you, man.
Yeah, man. How do you feel like with how close they were last year?
It hurt. I disappeared.
He did. Jacob, he did a very pathetic thing, and we don't want you to follow after your professor's bad example.
It's not pathetic. I did it in 2010, and I did it again in 2022.
He did something pathetic. In 2010, nobody was paying attention to us as much as they are now. So he did something pathetic, Jacob, and then he tried to show back up with his wife to try to help her hide his shame and embarrassment. So we don't want you following that horrible example.
I did.
We're glad that
I disappeared.
It was sad.
It hurt when you're up 2-1 and your team loses the way we lost. It hurt.
Nobody cares. You're supposed to stand here and face the people, and you didn't do it, and it was shameful. It was absolutely disgraceful.
It's all good. I'll do it again. I'm not ashamed to do anything. If I don't feel like speaking, I'm not talking. No, I don't have to say anything.
See, Carl, this is the point. You should be ashamed to do it again. Don't say I'm not ashamed to do it again. No, you should be ashamed to do it again. Don't do it again. Like, no, we're here
Maybe we'll see.
Look, Jacob is trying to learn. The same way we're trying to learn, Jacob wants to learn. He asked you a legitimate question. You want to embarrass all of us? Come on, man.
Okay, so I felt it hurt. It really was. It felt terrible. Like it was terrible to watch them lose the way they did. Especially, I think it was game 4 in Boston where
when Steph Curry went crazy.
Oh yeah, game 4. It was terrible. It was absolutely terrible.
I get some PTSD from Steph Curry going crazy. That one game he had against when he hit that like half court shot to beat us, man.
Not only that, you had Klay Thompson. Wasn't that the game Klay Thompson had like something like?
No. He talking about the regular season game.
No, right. But Klay did something to y'all in the playoffs too, though, right?
Yeah. Oh, well,
Klay. Game 6, Klay, man. Even on our home floor, as soon as we lost that game, I was like, the series is probably over. We're going back to Golden State. After that brutal loss, we literally had it and just let it slip right out our hands.
Mike, to continue our conversation from last week about Anthony Davis, I tried to get at Anthony about it, and he's still, Anthony Davis is like that and all that stuff about
like what?
So Anthony, I don't know. It's supposed to be Anthony Davis's team. The Lakers are 3-10. We know what they are already.
Oh my God!
But I saw a statistic. I was looking at a statistic the other day, just me being petty, and it said it was highlighting Jeannie Buss's career as an owner. And, she's made, one championship. I think they made the playoffs one time, and then they've missed the playoffs every other year since she's been an owner. So it's like, and somebody said that she's the James Dolan of the West. But then they won a championship. Yeah, but they won.
Let's calm down. See, somebody. Let's calm. That was a Knicks fan that said that. Let's calm down. Let's calm down.
But it evaluated. If you looked at it, I wish I could find it. It basically looked at her years of being owner. And every year they've missed the playoffs, except for the whole year.
I mean, it hasn't been good, but let's not compare it to the Knicks. There is the Bubblicious championship. Like, let's not.
Right. But again, at this point, you don't even have your first pick. So what do? I mean, clearly they're not like they're at the bottom of the Western Conference.
They're in basketball purgatory. You know that. They're in basketball. They're gonna be like the Kings. Except they have the allure of being the Lakers. Oh, they're in purgatory, brother.
So
ain't
are
no
there
way
any
out.
pieces? Right, but are there any pieces that would be tradable that you would want? Like with the
No, I'd trade Anthony Davis. I would trade him. What do you need him for? If LeBron is clearly aging, right? So LeBron can't carry you. We already know that Anthony Davis can't carry a team. That's why he's on the Lakers. He left the Pelicans because he can't carry a team. So that means your franchise piece is a number 2. That means you got to get a number 1. So unless you're going to draft a number 1, and then that's a young player being a number 1, get rid of Anthony Davis. But even if you get rid of Anthony Davis, go send him back to the Pelicans and ask for your pick back. Do that. Try to get your pick back. That's the only thing you could do at this point. Or try to negotiate with or not Cleveland. Try to negotiate with Houston or my Pacers, because I'm sure they may let the bottom fall out. I'm hoping that they do. Let the kids develop. But anyways, try to negotiate with one of these bottom feeder teams to get some picks for this year's draft. Get Victor, change your franchise. Otherwise, you're drawing dead. You're just like the Nets. You're going to be trash, and you're going to stay trash the whole year.
Jacob, what are your thoughts here with Anthony Davis and the Lakers? Should they just blow up the whole thing?
Well, I was just thinking. I just remember the New Orleans Pelicans have their pick because the Anthony Davis trade that they had a while ago. I don't think that they would let go of that pick just because with how bad that the Lakers are doing right now. Because they're the 7th seed right now. They make playoffs or whatever. They could, like, the Lakers do bad, they can really draft Victor, like, if they can, and then their team's just going to be a juggernaut the next 5 years to come. So I don't think they would trade their pick, but I feel like the Lakers, there's really not much you can do. You have your good players and you're still losing, still 3-10. Like, I feel like you might just have to blow it up. LeBron's missing games. You got Anthony Davis, like Michael said, a number 2 out there when you guys really need a number 1. I feel like try to get some picks, but right now it's not looking that good for him.
Let me ask you guys this: was the championship worth it?
Their fans are going to tell you it was. But
we're not talking to their fans. I'm talking to you guys trying to be objective. Would you say it's worth it?
I mean, Jacob, you go ahead.
I mean,
it's a fair question.
A lot of fans say that.
Would you do it? Would you do it though?
For a championship?
Yeah, for one, and then you don't win again for you're like indefinite to when you win again. Like you go back to a losing team.
I feel like for like a championship, like the feeling of that. I feel like I probably would do something like that because not many teams really get to the championship. Not many teams win it based off the last couple of years. You got the Cavs and the Warriors really just running it. And then you got the Lakers with that bubble ring.
It's the same thing with like Toronto did it, right?
Yeah.
They traded their chips for one and they got one.
There was Carl, how many championships y'all got?
We got 17.
And the Lakers got 18, right?
No, they tied us. They got 17.
It's 17 to 17. So there's 34. And the NBA's what, 75 years old?
I think the Lakers got 6. I could be. They have 16. I think we're tied. If we're not tied, I think
they got two franchises have almost 25% of all the championships. I'm with Jacob. As much as I wouldn't want to stink, I've never experienced a Pacer championship. So if they mortgage everything to get one championship, Bubblicious or not, let me get that. Because it'll always be in my memory. Because I will fly from San Antonio to Indianapolis to the parade. So it's worth it. It's worth it.
I was just about to ask you that. Are you going to go to the parade if they win the chip?
I will book my ticket for the whole weekend just to be in Indianapolis, just to go to the parade. No, I'm going. So it's worth it if you're a fan and the players that are in the locker room, because again, Anthony Davis never won a championship. No matter what I think or anyone else thinks, he is a champion. That doesn't change. Everybody on that roster, that Dwight Howard, say what you want about him. He's a champion. That doesn't change. So it's worth it at the end of the day. But that's not going to stop us from getting these jokes off and laughing. I'm going to laugh all day.
I know Andres will be in the comments soon enough if we don't talk about Portland and give them some love, being the number 1 seed in the Western Conference. Is it finally working out for them?
Carl, we know the rules of the first two.
I know, but I have to ask it. I'm basing it off
the rules.
Records. I know.
We know the rules.
I know. Bad teams.
Bottom falls out really quick.
Bad teams don't know they're bad. Yes,
they don't know yet.
They're bad, but
we know that.
Assessing it right now, do they look like a good team? You would say
it's a month in tomorrow, with 2 days from now, make it a month in. Damian Lillard has missed time and they're still winning. Jeremy Grant's playing well. So I will give them, I will say, maybe. I will say maybe. I'm not ready to say that this is legit yet. I'm not ready to say that yet.
Okay. Jacob, what are your thoughts on Portland?
I'm not ready. I really am not ready to say that they're there yet. It is still early. You saw the Celtics make the chip last year after they started, not so good. As Jaylen Brown said, the energy has shifted, or the energy is about to shift. So, right. Really, I think it's too early to tell. Like after these 14 games,
it's too early, man. It's way too early. But you know what, Carl? I want to shout out your Celtics, man, because they had every reason to fold. That y'all had every reason to flop and use that as an excuse to not play up to the level. And I think they're playing better now. That is a team that I'm going to take stock in what they're doing now. I'm not going to say it's early for the Celtics because, again, given all the turmoil, they had every excuse to fold the tent and say, oh, well, we don't have our coach, especially when they heard he was about to go to the Nets. So, no, I can count that. And like I said, I want to shout out Sacramento. I've watched them a couple of times. That is legit. They're going to be a playoff team. They're legit.
But you see, but that's okay. So I guess it's all a matter of the eye test because
I can give you
off the record.
And I'm going to give you a difference. The difference is Portland is still basically working with a brand new team. Most of their pieces, like Jeremy Grant, just got there. Most of they're playing a rookie, Shaden Sharp. Most of their pieces are new, so they're getting the freshness and newness of everything. Anthony Simons, Damian Lillard didn't play with him as the Anthony Simon we know now starting. Damian Lillard didn't get to play with him all last year. So they're still fresh. Damo and De'Aaron Fox got to play with each other the half of last season. De'Aaron Fox was a little bit hurt, but they had a full offseason together. And looking at that team, the addition of Kevin Huerter, all these other good role players, they're a legitimate playoff team.
Jacob, what are your thoughts? You agree?
Yeah. After just the game yesterday, what they did to the Nets, even though the Nets roster is kind of like abysmal right now, I do like what I see from the Kings. I feel like they can definitely shock some people in the playoffs. I think they got that roster for it.
Your team actually played. They almost beat my team. You guys had a 14-point lead against us on Monday night. You guys came off a big win in MSG. I think you guys. How much did you score against the Knicks? You scored it was 140 something, right, or something like that. I think OKC scored against the Knicks when you guys played them.
You said on Monday.
Yeah, no, you played us on Monday. No, I think you played the OKC on Sunday.
145.
Yeah, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, shout out to him. He's having a MVP caliber type year, Mike. You would say.
Mm-hmm. Calm down.
I'm just putting. Look at his numbers. How much is he averaging?
Things out. No, we just got
Jacob. How much is he averaging? He's averaging like 30 something, right?
Yeah, somewhere around there. I mean, I like what I see out of Shai Gilgeous. It could just be the Thunder bias, but when we traded for him and got him and when he was in the Clippers, then I think that the PG deal, I really like what I see from him, the last couple of years. I really like how he's meshing as a player. And I really think someone was saying at the beginning of the season about possibly letting him go. He's not going to want to play for like a team that, is probably rebuilding. They don't want to waste his talent. I think he's going to be like a big piece when OKC, all these draft picks that we got, when we finally start drafting good players to step up for us. I think he's going to be a really big piece.
I don't know what you guys are going to do with all those goddamn picks, man. You guys are going to trade, you guys have too many. You guys have the most picks, I think.
Exactly.
In the league.
At some point, we're going to start to tell the truth that Sam Presti's a bad GM. Sorry, Jacob, but at some point, you can't keep living off the fact that you drafted KD and you drafted Russ and you drafted Harden and none of them won a championship with you and none of them are on your team. So at some point, you don't get credit for that.
We all thought he was a bad GM when he gave Serge Ibaka the money and let James Harden go.
Hello. That was the beginning. That's what we started to say.
Really
you ain't that good of a GM.
Yeah, I remember that. That was one of the worst trades I ever.
That was the dumbest trade ever.
I could never believe that one. Yeah, that was pretty bad.
And look, He's ruined the day since he's done it. Look, what have they done
Yeah, I
since
know.
he's done that? That was the
I
dumbest thing
know,
I
I
ever.
know, I know. Yeah, I couldn't believe that one. That
You
was a
can't
little.
keep living off of that. Like
That's my biggest what if, man. What if we kept that squad together?
Well,
We
you
were
know me. I don't
young,
deal with the ifs. I
losing.
deal with
you
the
know,
facts.
we didn't ask you if you deal with ifs. Jacob, we deal with ifs. That's Carl's little thing, and we don't have to abide by
I don't
that.
deal with the ifs.
That's
I deal
his
with the
rule.
facts. That's my rule.
It's a bad rule.
But it's a matter of, again, what are you doing with all your picks? Are you trying to hold out for a superstar player, or are you just going to continue drafting and building players?
I think we just got to take that year by year, see how we do this year, and before we make. I think like we have all these picks, we should be able to draft that, that star. We drafted Russ, we drafted KD, we drafted James Harden. Like it really should be possible that we draft somebody like that, or even who knows, maybe we are just gathering all these picks. We're gonna just send the house for the first overall pick, get Victor. That's something I wouldn't be opposed with.
I don't think
Victor
that's
with his
happen.
talent.
I think honestly, it's a tank. I think who's leading in the way to tank. Detroit is a possibility, and Houston is a possibility. It's one of the two is going to end up getting him. I would say.
Well, I think OKC has the problem that we've been talking about this a lot in most recent years, maybe like the past 10 years, is that OKC's problem is they don't have any veterans. So playing a bunch of 21-year-olds, you're not gonna get as good as you can be.
They had one and they let him go. They didn't want him to play. They had Al Horford and they let him go.
If Chris Paul signed as a free agent to Phoenix, right?
I think he got traded. Did he get traded?
Or did he? Because he was with OKC. They went to the.
He was.
They need something. Remember, last year, that's what I said when we were getting ready to get rid of Damo. I didn't want to get rid of him, but it's the same thing with Buddy Hield. I was like, well, we got to keep a veteran that plays, not just a veteran sitting on the bench. We need someone that plays. And so I think OKC.
Yeah, Chris Paul got traded. He got traded.
Yeah. So OKC, part of that next step is stop just having a bunch of 21-year-olds playing. Don't just be it. That doesn't mean anything when you're the youngest team in the NBA. You're not going to win that way. You need to mix it with veterans and people who've been there and that can contribute. You can have some old ones who are not contributing on the bench to help coach some of the young guys playing, but you need veterans. That's going to be that next step when Chet Holmgren comes back. If you get Victor, these are the building blocks, but you need veterans in that locker room. That's going to take OKC to the next step.
Jacob, would you agree?
I agree. We really need that veteran leadership. Like we saw what we did with Chris Paul. We were one game away from, taking down the Houston Rockets. Although we probably wouldn't have done anything after that.
It was the bubble. We kind of ignored the bubble around these streets.
The Bubblicious the Bubblicious gets a slant. But
we kind of ignored the Bubblicious championship, and we try to ignore it. But again, looking at the standings, a lot of teams are pretty inconsistent. Teams that we thought would start out hot are really not, and it's Mike. I think again it's still early, but I guess it's too early to start separating the weak from the strong because some teams are still struggling and still down there, except for the top two I think those are the top two in the East. It's going to come down to Boston and Milwaukee unless there's a trade.
Well,
that's what I say. And the Western Conference,
I think that's going to stick. Like, I'm sorry to cut you off. I think that's going to stick. Nobody believes that Utah and Portland is going to lead the West. Like, stop it.
Yeah, they're not. But we would expect the Warriors to rise up. We would expect Memphis to get up there in the top tier. Denver to stick around,
right?
Phoenix as well, and I still don't like Jay Crowder's still home. I still need somewhere for him to go, man. Jay Crowder, I think, is too much of a valuable asset.
Carl, that may be a personality thing too.
Yeah,
there may have been something because we speculate. Nobody knows why he's at home or why he just up and left the Suns. So there could be, because you know how these owners do, everybody's talking. So there could be, it was the same thing when we talked about Melo a couple years ago when Melo was out the league and Melo was begging on First Take to get a job. Melo was basically intimating that there was stuff going on behind the scenes that was prohibiting him from being in the league. That could be the same thing with Jay Crowder. Like, it could be an attitude issue, not saying it's right or anything like that. But I think there's something more to this that we just don't know yet of he's sitting at home because he can contribute to a roster right now. but there's something going on behind the scenes that we're not privy to it.
Yeah, okay. Andre is valuable in terms of being a valuable role player. That's what I want to say. Not as far as like I think he's a great asset as a role player. He plays great.
Ooh, Jay Crowder?
Jay Crowder, yeah.
Of course.
I think so.
People could use him now. He's a 3-and-D guy. That's what everybody wants. Like,
yeah, for sure. How long is James Harden out for? James Harden is still
he's out for a month.
A month.
He's out for a whole month, right?
So he's not coming back till December.
So that affects Philly. The Knicks are 7-7. I heard they had a locker room team meeting. You know, they're struggling.
Yeah, Carl, the Knicks are the perfect example. Mac was very happy the first two weeks. And what happened? Because the reality, the bad teams, the first 2 weeks, everybody's excited, Carl. We know this. We've seen this movie so many times with the bad teams in the NBA. The first 2 weeks, they're the best team in the NBA. And then as time progresses, we say, oh, wait, y'all ain't that good. You guys actually stink. Like, so the Knicks are back to being the Knicks. They stink. Like, so they're average and they stink. So that's what we expected from the Knicks. They'll be in the lottery with the rest of us.
Is there anything else in the association that I forgot to cover? Because I think I basically covered everything except for the Chatty Patty stuff, which is really Chatty Patty this week, Mike.
We didn't really talk much about like Joel Embiid, like his performance. I think it
was great. Yeah, it was great. But I mean, Joel is kind of stuck in that. It's like, I feel like he's stuck in that he's on a bad team, or we're gonna keep giving him passes and excuses. You know, it's like do we give him a pass and excuse, or do we say, man, he's just been with a bad team because he's had the talent and they still haven't been able to get over the hump. So I don't know which one is it. Are we gonna give him a pass, or are we gonna say he's just not that guy yet? I don't know.
Well, go ahead, Jacob, because you wanted to talk about him.
Oh yeah, well, I was looking at some of the top games of all time. I think he literally could have an arguable top 10 performance of all time, stat wise. There was, I mean, different than because it wasn't a playoff game. I know that also put some implications to it. But I was looking at David Robinson's quadruple double that he had. I mean, obviously it's a quadruple double. Give him extra points for that. Not many of those in the league, but Joel Embiid scored more points. And dang near he got the rebounds. He was 3 off of the 10 blocks and 2 off of the assists. And I think, and with those extra points that he's got, I think really could be a top 5 performance of all time.
I think, you could put it up. There have been some, listen, I have to, you talk about regular season, right?
Yeah, but see, and the reason why you gave that caveat, Carl, is because we have to. We have no choice. We have no choice but to say, Jacob, that was a game in November.
Yeah,
it's a game in November.
There's a lot of
in 2 months. Nobody's gonna care. Nobody's gonna care.
It's hard to like. I want to give. I love Joel Embiid. I want to give him his credit, but again, he's knocking 30, man. And you're looking at the trajectory of the Philly career. We got to start placing and saying, all right, bro, where we gonna put you? Because Giannis is one place. You got, you haven't won the MVP yet. Maybe you got robbed. Maybe you didn't. It's debatable. You had Jimmy Butler, you had Ben Simmons, now you got James Harden. We start questioning, we start checking off boxes. That's what we do. Yes. And he's not checking off the boxes. He's not checking off any boxes.
He don't have that resume. Talk about it, Carl.
No,
he don't have the resume.
He really don't. And as much I love him, and I want to be biased for Joel because I love him. But I'm damn, bro, like that resume, I'm trying to start to throw that shit out. I don't know.
We got to be, listen, all you got to do is, all you're doing, Carl, is being fair. We're just going to be fair to him. I remember, see, anytime I think of big men, I think about what Shaq said and what he said drove him, because people always kept telling him those first 8 years in Orlando, well, you didn't win a championship. And he said when he went to the Lakers, that was the requirement. You have to win.
Yeah.
God forbid Joel go to the Lakers, then you're going to end up like Dwight Howard. So, Carl, I think, no, it's fair to say, brother, you're almost 30. We have to ask those questions. At some point, it cannot be everybody else's fault. We said trust the process, 10 years, and here you are, and you can get 59 in November, but then when it comes to June, you ain't there. So at some point, it just, unfortunately, the November, I ain't gonna lie, when I saw the stat line, I said, oh, that is insane. And then that was it.
Yeah, it was. It was a moment, Jake. Like I said,
it was just a one little moment.
Yeah, it was a moment.
One shining moment.
That's what it was. Yeah, you have to think back to when they lost to Toronto and you let Kawhi beat you like that. You gotta think of when let Boston spanked you the year before. You lost to Atlanta. You know, like all these things are like, yo, bro, like come on, like. And the other thing is you can't stay healthy. The best ability is availability.
It's just it's not looking good. Like
it's not
at some
looking good
point,
for Joel.
it's not looking good.
It really is. And I want him to win, but it's like, when are you gonna get to that? And then it doesn't look good. We got Andres in the comments talking about how Klay Thompson knowing he's washed and is crying. So
he's a 4-time champion. So if you want us to talk about that, we sure can. You just heard Jacob mention he still has partial nightmares about Game 6 Klay. I mean, we could talk about Klay Thompson if you want us to talk about Klay Thompson. It's also 2 weeks into the season, Andres. So let that man.
He has a vendetta against Klay. Like that.
I know it's personal, and you got to let it go. They keep telling me to let it go about LeBron. I don't have nothing against LeBron, by the way, people. Yeah, Andres, you got to let it go, man. Klay is who Klay
nobody
is.
Cares about that. Klay is who he is. And the last chatty patty stuff, which is really chatty patty. It's up to you, Mike, if you want to talk about it. Jordan's son is dating Pippen's ex-wife.
No, I'm not talking about that, Carl. I didn't know none of this was happening, and I'm not getting into that. No, we had no more chatty patty. No, we had a beautiful basketball discussion. You're not going to ruin this, Carl. Thank you. No. Thanks, but no thanks.
I just had to put it out.
No, I didn't even hear about that. So I'm already mad at you that you mentioned it. I had to. Poison a basketball conversation.
There's always a chatty patty. There's always a chatty patty part I have to put in there. I'm sorry. There's always a chatty patty part we have to put in there. Mike, any final thoughts before we sign off, sir?
Man, listen, NBA is fantastic. Shouts out to like I said, shouts out to the Kings. They're playing incredible. It's been I think they've had the longest streak of not making the playoffs. I think it's 17 years or something like that.
They haven't made it since we were in high school, bro.
Exactly. So I want to see them make it to the playoffs. That would be a great story we all remember the cowbells and all of that. So that would be dope if they made the playoffs. So shouts out to them. I'm definitely going to be continuing to watch them. And Cleveland is a really good team. Like I like their 3-guard lineup. I like it a lot.
Jacob, any final thoughts before we sign off here?
Oh yeah, one more thing. I feel like the technical fouls now that are so it's ridiculous. So weak. Like Tatum got a technical foul for just clapping.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
What do you want him to do? Like he was just letting some emotion out, clapping. Russell Westbrook got a technical foul for just staring at somebody. You want him to close his eyes and walk up the floor?
You know who I blame though? That's all Rasheed Wallace's fault, because back in our day, he used to get technicals for doing all that shit, and he caused this new. And also your guy Mike. After the Malice in the Palace, they completely shifted.
No. That don't have nothing. No, you ain't gonna blame me for that. You ain't gonna blame Ron for that. No, you ain't blaming Ron for that.
But they definitely started refereeing differently after that.
Shout out to you, Jacob, for saying that. These refs are too. It happened last night. I think it was Brandon Ingram just went like this and got mad and he just turned around and it was it happened last night. Like these refs are too sensitive. Y'all got to cut it out. Like this is ridiculous.
I feel like the same way that they fine NBA players for being out of line. I feel like for calls like that or like big missed calls, I feel like they should have the refs like hold them accountable, throw them a little fine, like something.
Not just a 2-minute report where you say that should have been called and that should name the ref the same way you would name a player that did something wrong. Name the ref that did not name the referee team that did not get the call right. Name them so we can know so that they can miss a game or get dock paid. We need to know all of that. The same way you put all the players' business out when they get a tech. You can put the business out of the refs when they get a call wrong. CJ was talking about it last night. He got a tech because the ref got the call wrong. He did. And he said in the post game, well, he got it wrong. So I'm saying he got it wrong. We need to name names. Come on, man. You do it to the players, do it to the refs. Hold them accountable.
Yeah, that's true. Make sure you like, share, comment, subscribe to All Sports Hills content. Make sure you check out the B Show tomorrow. She has a special segment that'll be on live tomorrow at 6:00 featuring my wife. Jacob, how was your first time, man? Mike, how did he do?
Oh, that man get an A+, man. He was
A+.
incredible.
I don't know about that.
That man get an A+, man.
Jacob,
you did a great job, Jacob, man.
I had fun,
brother.
Yeah. I wouldn't go as far to say A+, man. There's always room for improvement, but I appreciate the A+, man. I really do.
I'll give him a B. I'll give him a B just to start off. B, so he can
All
get
right.
himself to that
So
A.
for sure.
You know me. I'm not gonna give him an A plus right away. We don't do
Why
that.
not? And then he can maintain his greatness. Like,
no,
why,
because you have to
why-
continue to improve, man. He's got to get him better.
Yeah,
So,
there's always room
Who
for
said
improvement.
that people can't? You know how you get a 4.0 is not because you get a B and then have to achieve. No, you get a 4.0 because you maintain greatness.
It's true. That is.
Jacob, I'll see you. When do I see you again in class? Tomorrow, right?
Yeah, I got the dentist appointment tomorrow at 12. So I'm
yeah.
not
You
gonna
gonna have a man put his personal business on.
I forgot.
You was, but we live. You got
I
this man
forgot.
put his personal business in the
I
street.
did it. I
What
thought I was
is
going to
wrong
see
with
him
you?
tomorrow in
We-
class. I'm sorry.
This ain't no personal conversation. We
No,
all live.
I asked him if I was going to see him tomorrow.
You know
in
this
class.
man wanted everybody to know he had a dentist appointment. Carl, come together,
But he
man.
didn't have to say that. He could have said it later. He said
What you
it.
mean he didn't have to say it? You as professor, you putting his business in the street.
I
man.
did it. I said, "Am I seeing you tomorrow in class?" I just asked a simple question.
You said, do
You
we
didn't
have
to
class
answer.
tomorrow? Yo, Jacob, man, I got you, man. Carl didn't have to put your
Of course, man,
business
of
out there
course.
like that. He could have texted you and asked you what if you was gonna be in class tomorrow.
Oh my
Leave
God.
out your business. If he was missing class, he was missing class. You ain't right, man.
It's all they don't know where I go to the dentist at, so I'm not gonna come there and meet me there. You know what I mean?
Oh, Jacob, thank you for coming on, man. Thank you.
Word,
For
thanks,
man.
Mike,
Thanks for
Mike,
having
I'll
me.
see you next week, man. You guys have a good week. Send my love to the family. Again, B Show tomorrow. Like, share, comment, subscribe to all Sports Hitless content. There goes the B Show lady herself trying to make sure.
Yay, hey, Deb.
How you doing?
Get it, Deb.
All right, she's hungry, so I gotta go. I'll see you guys later. I'm out. Have a good
Peace
night.
out.